Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday, and welcome to episode 221 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate, and I am super excited if you are here this morning joining us, or whether you're catching this on the replay. Now, as always, if you think any of the content that we are talking about today could be relevant for anyone in your network or your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Now, as you guys know, for the month of August, we have been in a full resource series for this whole month. And I am so excited to welcome to the show today, Andy Petro. He is the Chief Operations Officer at the Hope Learning Center. Welcome, Andy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, Andy, and this is your first time here. And so I would love, before we kind of dive into all the resources and things that the Hope Learning Center has to offer, just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I am currently the Chief Operations Officer at the Hope Learning Center. Prior to that, I spent most of my career in cyber charter schools. So specifically a school called the Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School. I worked there for about 10 years, starting in 2004. And I had an opportunity to work in a department that did a lot of live virtual instruction. So I got to supervise some teachers, both on-site and remote. And then I sort of allowed that to lead me into more experience in technology and system administration and that sort of thing. But all along the way, I worked with staff members and tools that were constantly allowing us to fold in special education students into the traditional classroom environment, right? So lots of inclusion, lots of experience working with those students. Actually, I came to the Hope Learning Center because the founder, Asha Prasad, and I both worked in that school together. And then after we kind of went separate ways for a few years, we sort of reconnected and we're working together now here at the Hope Learning Center.
I love that. So many layers to your career. And now, being at the Hope Learning Center, what is the mission of the Hope Learning Centers? And then I know that when I looked on the website, it talked about schools too. So do you guys integrate your program into schools? So I wanted to learn more about that as well.
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you. So essentially, our mission is to be a premier provider of educational and therapeutic services for children with special needs, right? So that's just sort of the simple mission. We do that through, really focusing on our core values, which are compassion, integrity, commitment, innovation, perseverance, and teamwork. And so when we onboard folks, and it's interesting, actually today, we're onboarding a bunch of folks into the organization this morning, actually, as we speak. And we'll focus on those characteristics, those values all day long. And then as their careers progress here at the Hope Learning Center. We do those things in lots of environments. So one of them is in a center that we operate. And we actually have 3 campuses where we operate under our own sort of authority and control. But we also work in school districts to provide related services to their students in their spaces. So yeah, we do offer support in a variety of locations.
Okay, and you were saying that you guys kind of max out age-wise at the age of 21. So 21 and under, while kids are still in the school program. So then, do you guys offer also off-site, like in-home, like the ABA? You were talking about ABA therapy and stuff like that. Do you do that in home as well? I know if you help within support the school site, and then at your center, are kids able to be there the whole day, or is it just broken off into therapeutic sessions?
Yeah, so if I just drop back a little bit and talk about our history, that might help provide a better perspective of exactly what we do. So we're just starting our 13th year. We have around 100 employees. The organization was founded in 2008 by our CEO, our current CEO, Asha Prasad, she worked as a wraparound. And so, she experienced what a lot of folks who work in that role in this industry experience as some frustration with logistics and hoops to jump through and, lots of paperwork and that sort of thing. And she felt like she was getting bogged down in that. And so what she wanted to do was focus her efforts on client support and success. And ideally, she had a vision to remove barriers and bureaucracy for service providers, right? So she started a company that would do that. Originally, we worked with cyber charter schools who needed to provide related services, to your point, to students in some cases in their own homes. And so we've been doing that since the beginning, right, since the inception. And then we created a facility where folks who weren't as comfortable getting services in the home or who needed services, again, kind of to your point, all day long, to be able to come to the center and receive whatever they needed under one roof, right? So we did that with cyber charter schools. And then we began to partner with school districts. So instead of having the students come to us, we would go out to the districts, as I mentioned earlier, to provide service to their students in their spaces. A little bit after that, we realized that a lot of those school district partners that we worked with a couple years later were coming to us asking for full-time placements for academic purposes, right? And so we actually started a private licensed school called Hope Academy. It services children kindergarten through 12th grade. And it operates on all three campuses. So we deal with students who have who are on the autism spectrum, who also have social emotional disabilities or learning disabilities. So really, there's not a classification of students that we don't work with. And so we do that on all three campuses. The most recent addition for us is our ABA clinic, right? So since we had therapists, since we had teachers, since we had psychologists all working for us already, it became obvious actually that some of the parents who were coming to us because they were receiving services that their school was providing actually wanted additional services that their insurance would cover, but that the school hadn't yet deemed necessary for their children, right? So we started an outpatient facility that did speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. And then just within the last 3 years, we added applied behavior analysis. So yeah, so a little bit of a long-winded answer to the question, but we try to work with our clients and their support systems to provide services in the best environment for them.
I love that. And question for you, in that Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh area, it seems as if Pittsburgh is very forward in the services that they have to offer for children under the age of 21 in the special needs kind of community. Would you say that to be true as just as an area, throughout the United States? Just very, very forward. You guys seem like you are ahead of the game a little bit.
Yeah, I think I would credit legislators. I would credit school district leaders, right? I think those folks have been out in front of those kinds of issues and very willing to find creative solutions, very willing to commit time, and really, most importantly, to commit financial resources on behalf of the state, on behalf of the local school district, or again, from an insurance perspective, to meet the needs that these kiddos have.
Yes, definitely. Now, would there be advice? So someone is listening to this today, and let's say they live in Atlanta or they live in California, and they're like, well, that sounds like an amazing place, and we have nothing like that around us. Or maybe there is something that opened, but what are good questions or things that parents should be looking for when they're investigating, different places like this to send their children with unique abilities?
Yeah, so what I would say is our clients, the feedback they give us is that they prefer that they can get access to all of their service providers in one location, right? So if it's ABA, OT, PT, speech, psych services, we do all of that stuff under one roof. And our clients find that helpful. I mean, if you're trying to manage the logistical aspects of receiving those services in lots of different locations, sometimes that makes it difficult, and you could find yourself missing appointments, or sort of foregoing some services because it's just too hard to get them to match. So I would say that from our own client's perspective, it's helpful to have a provider who can do that all in one place. In terms of specific needs that a child might have, we like to defer to national resources. So things like the CDC and their developmental milestones information, the American Academy of Pediatrics. We encourage folks who are feeling like they're not quite sure if they should be pursuing services of some kind, if there's a developmental delay or some other issue, to work very closely with your school district and its administrators, really probably starting with the teacher and whatever they're seeing in the day-to-day, and with your primary care physician, right? So essentially, I guess my best advice would be to maintain open lines of communication, not to shy away from something you think you might be seeing, and really pursue support if you need to. Of course, we also would refer folks to the American Speech, Language, and Hearing Association, the American Occupational Therapy Association, those sort of broader structures that have a lot of research-based information and data. We try not to give a lot of generic or blanket information about situations that we don't quite know about. But we would say, talk to the people in your kids' lives who do know, or who would have the most information.
Okay, that is great. And if someone is in the area,
Yeah.
your area, and they're listening to this, how do they start that process to get connected with you guys?
Yeah, sure. So we have a lot of folks who contact us on our website, thehopelearningcenter.org. And folks will jump on and see the services we have to offer. And sometimes a parent will reach out directly to the center. We'll have our director of client relations get back to them and have a really in-depth conversation about how we can help meet their needs, right? We also have families contact us directly to inquire about sending their children to Hope Academy, right, our private school, whether for the traditional school year or our extended school year program. And when we do that, we always turn right back around and sort of walking alongside the parent, go right back to the school district. So there's a three-way partnership, right? So it's not just us talking to the parent or us talking to the school district, but really including everybody who's involved in that case. So folks can contact us directly for outpatient services, anything insurance related. We do, as I mentioned earlier, some psychological testing and evaluations. We do applied behavior analysis. So we do all the evaluations that go along with that, OT, PT, and speech. And so we encourage families to reach out to us directly about that, and we can get the ball rolling right away in terms of the eligibility and authorizations and getting the evaluation started so that we can sort of jump in and help that family out as soon as possible.
Okay, and one last question for your school, because that's a unique thing to be able to offer something, like 8th or 12th grade. Is there criteria that you must meet to be able to get into that school? Is there I know living here in Wisconsin, I live in a very, very rural, in the middle of a country area. We have a very unique school, which is self-contained. It's called Lakeland School of Walton County, and it's amazing. But it's in the middle of nowhere, like in the middle of a cornfield. But you have to meet specific criteria to be eligible to go there. It's not like you can choose, hey, I'm not going to go to my school district. I'm going to go here instead. You do have different protocol you do have to follow.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So our school is a private school, but it's not a private school where we accept any parent payment. I suppose we would do that, but we haven't in the past. We almost always partner with the school district. We bring the entire IEP team together and administrators to make sure that everybody is in agreement about this particular placement, right? So the bare bones would be that the student does need to have an IEP in place. Typically, for the school district to agree that the placement needs to change from the traditional bricks and mortar school to our private school, there must have been some efforts made inside of the district to provide the best education possible. And typically what we see is for one reason or another, perhaps the severity of a disability and that sort of thing, it just they've sort of hit some roadblocks. They've maybe plateaued in their ability to help a student succeed. And the best option for continued education and growth and success for that student would be to transition out of the traditional school district, whether it's full inclusion environment or sort of pull out special education, to enrollment at Hope Academy.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And can you just let the audience know again, before we wrap up this morning, where again is the best place to reach you?
Yeah, sure. So we're online at thehopelearningcenter.org. Folks can find our physical address as well as our phone number on the website. We are on, sort of all the social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. And so, we do have some channels there that folks can feel free to follow. We try to do a good balance of consumer education in terms of what we have to offer, and also sort of just offering our insight and education into current events or trending topics in this industry, right? So we don't really just want to promote ourselves in those channels. We really want to try to share some information as well. And so, on our website or on any of those social media channels.
That is wonderful. And after we are done with this show, I will drop those below so that it's easy and accessible for people to click on and get over to, guys. But with that, thank you, Andy, so much for spending this early Monday morning time with us here at the Advocate. I so appreciate it. And hope as things grow and change, would love to have you back on again at some point in time to hear what's all going on with the Hope Learning Center.
We'd love that. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you anybody for viewing or who is ever watching this on the replay later on today. If you want to know more about the On Air Advocate resources, you can head on over to onairadvocate.com and you can find them all right there. And if you are viewing this on Facebook and you want to become part of our private community, head up to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button, and that will let you in. So with that, everybody have a fabulous kickoff to the start of your week. Thanks again, Andy. So appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.